Texas, General Knowledge, Part 10. Question number 237. When you are parked along a divided highway, at what distances should you place your warning devices? A. Warning devices should all be placed within 50 feet of all sides of the vehicle. B. The warning devices should all be placed evenly within 100 feet of the vehicle on each side. C. Warning devices should be placed at 25, 75, 150, and 200 feet in the direction of oncoming traffic. D. Warning devices should be placed at 10, 100, and 200 feet in the direction of oncoming traffic. The correct answer is D. Warning devices should be placed at 10, 100, and 200 feet in the direction of oncoming traffic. Explanation. When parked along a divided highway, you should place your warning devices at 10, 100, and 200 feet toward the direction of oncoming traffic. Question number 238. If you experience a tire blowout, you should hold the steering wheel tightly and A. Press evenly on the brake. B. Press the brake as firmly as you can. C. Use stab braking to reduce speed. D. Stay off the brake. The correct answer is D. Stay off the brake. Explanation. If you experience a tire blowout, it's important to stay off the brake to avoid losing control of the vehicle. Question number 239. When driving in an area with few streetlights on a clear night, if you cannot see well with your headlights, you should A. Turn your interior lights on. B. Find another route that is better lit. C. Use your high beams when legal and keep your interior lights off. The correct answer is C. Use your high beams when legal and keep your interior lights off. Explanation. If the lights from your instrument panel or other interior lights are too bright, it will take time for your eyes to adjust to the darkness outside. Help your eyes adjust to the outside darkness by dimming your instrument panel lights as much as possible and turning off all other interior lights. Use your high beam headlights whenever possible. However, dim your headlights whenever you're within 500 feet of an oncoming vehicle or within 500 feet of a vehicle you are following. Question number 241. Which of these statements is not true about engine belts in hot weather? A. Loose belts will not turn the water pump and or fan on properly. B. You can check the tightness of belts by pressing on them. C. Cracking is likely to occur but it is not a safety threat. The correct answer is C. Cracking is likely to occur but it is not a safety threat. Explanation. Check the tightness of the engine belt by pressing on it. Also check the belt for cracks or excessive wear. A loose or broken belt won't turn the water pump or fan properly, which will cause the engine to overheat. Question number 242. If a vehicle is equipped with circuit breakers, should you carry spare fuses? A. No, every vehicle comes with an extra set. B. Yes, this is mandatory. C. Carrying extra equipment is the driver's preference. D. No, this is not necessary. The correct answer is D. No, this is not necessary. Explanation. If your vehicle is equipped with circuit breakers, That means it doesn't use fuses, so you do not need to carry spare electrical fuses. See this regulation. And 93.95 emergency equipment on all power units. Open bracket. B. Spare fuses. Power units for which fuses are needed to operate any required parts and accessories must have at least one spare fuse for each type size of fuse needed for those parts and accessories. Question number 243. In normal driving, some drivers use the hand valve before the brake pedal to prevent a jackknife. Which of these statements are true? A. This results in less skidding. B. Lets driver steer with both hands. C. Best way to brake in a straight line. D. This should not be done. The correct answer is here. D. This should not be done. Explanation. Do not use the trailer hand valve in driving because of the danger of making the trailer skid. The foot brake sends air to all of the brakes on the vehicle, including the trailer. There is much less danger of causing a skid or jackknife when using just the foot brake. Question number 244. Doubling your speed has what effect on braking distance? A. No difference in stopping distance. B. Twice the speed equals twice the stopping distance. C. Twice the speed equals 8 times the stopping distance. D. Twice the speed equals 4 times the stopping distance. The correct answer is here. D. Twice the speed equals 4 times the stopping distance. Explanation. The faster you drive, the greater the impact or striking power of your vehicle. When you double your speed from 20 to 40 miles per hour, the impact is 4 times greater. The braking distance is also 4 times longer. Question number 245. Which statement is true about rear drive wheel braking skids? A. The locked wheels have more traction than the ones that are rolling. B. It is not a cause of jackknifing. C. The vehicle's front wheels will slide sideways. D. When pulling a trailer, the trailer can push the towing vehicle sideways. The correct answer is here. D. When pulling a trailer, the trailer can push the towing vehicle sideways. Explanation. Rear wheel braking skids occur when the rear drive wheels lock. Because locked wheels have less traction than rolling wheels, the rear wheels usually slide sideways in an attempt to catch up with the front wheels. With vehicles towing trailers, a drive wheel skid can let the trailer push the towing vehicle sideways, causing a sudden jackknife. Question number 246. Which of the following is an incorrect definition? A. Impaired drivers, drivers who are sleepy, under the influence of drugs, or had too much to drink. B. Distracted driver, drivers whose attention is not on the road. C. Slow drivers, drivers who are unable to drive at a normal speed and are a hazard as a result. D. Confused drivers, drivers who don't understand how to drive a vehicle. The correct answer is here. D. Confused drivers, drivers who don't understand how to drive a vehicle. Explanation. Although they are still a hazard, confused drivers will generally know how to drive their vehicle. They may not, however, be aware of the local area or where to go and may hesitate as a result. Question number 247. If your driving privileges to operate your personal vehicle are suspended or revoked for reasons other than alcohol, controlled substances, or the commission of a felony, you will A. Lose your CDL unless you obtain a hardship license. B. Lose your CDL for the same length of time. C. Still be able to keep your CDL. D. Lose your CDL for at least 1 year. The correct answer is here. B. Lose your CDL for the same length of time. Explanation. If your driving privileges to operate your personal vehicle are suspended or revoked due to alcohol, substance abuse, or the commission of a felony, you will lose your CDL for at least 1 year. For other violations, you will lose your CDL for the same amount of time as your personal vehicle driving privileges are lost. Question number 248. When braking on a steep downhill grade, you should repeatedly brake to bring your speed to mph below the designated safe speed for that hill. A. 20. B. 10. C. 15. D. 5. The correct answer is here. D. 5. Explanation. When braking on a steep downhill grade, you should press the brakes until your speed is 5 miles per hour below the safe speed, then allow your vehicle to reach the safe speed again. Repeat these 2 steps until you're no longer on the downhill. Question number 249. Why are placards used? A. So hazardous materials won't be mixed with food. B. To warn other drivers to stay away from your vehicle. C. To communicate the risk. The correct answer is here. C. To communicate the risk. Explanation. Hazardous materials placards are 4 regulated signs on the outside of the vehicle that identify the hazard class of the cargo for those who need to know, such as emergency service personnel or those who load and unload cargo. Question number 250. The total weight of the powered unit, the trailer, and the cargo is called A. Gross combination weight. B. Gross axle weight. C. Gross vehicle weight. The correct answer is here. A. Gross combination weight. Explanation. The gross combination weight is the sum of the gross vehicle weight, GVW, of the power unit and the GVW of each towed unit. A vehicle's GVW is its weight when fully loaded. Question number 251. To prevent brake fade, you should A. Apply constant hard pressure on the brakes. B. Coast down hills that are not very steep inclines. C. Select a gear that will keep your vehicle at a safe speed on steep downgrades. The correct answer is here. C. Select a gear that will keep your vehicle at a safe speed on steep downgrades. Explanation. If you keep applying the brakes to control your speed on steep downgrades, the brakes may fade, lose their effectiveness. Instead, shift into a low gear. This will generate a braking effect to slow the vehicle, known as engine braking. The lower the gear, the greater the engine braking effect. Apply the brakes only when engine braking is insufficient or you want to stop. Question number 252. Heavy vehicles must sometimes travel more slowly than other traffic. Which of these is not a good rule to follow when you are driving such a vehicle? A. Turn on your flashes if it is legal to do so. B. Stay to the right. C. Signal other drivers when it is safe for them to pass you. The correct answer is here, C. Signal other drivers when it is safe for them to pass you. Explanation. If you must drive slowly, keep right, and, if state laws allow it, use your emergency flashes to warn other drivers. Don't try to signal other drivers when you believe it's safe for them to pass you. If something were to go wrong, resulting in an accident, you could be held legally liable. Question number 253. If you are towing another vehicle, the tow connection must not be longer than A. 15 feet, B. 10 feet, C. 25 feet, D. 20 feet. The correct answer is here, A. 15 feet. Explanation. When one vehicle is towing another, the tow connection must not be longer than 15 feet from one vehicle to the other. Question number 254. What is the best way to figure out how many seconds of following distance you have? A. Use the stopwatch on your cell phone to determine how long it takes you to reach a mile marker after the vehicle in front of you has passed it. B. Send a text message to a friend to text you back in 10 seconds. See how far you have traveled in that time. C. Get 1 stroke 4 closer to the vehicle in front of you, then back off again. Multiply how long this took you by 4 to give the following distance. D. Wait until the vehicle ahead of you passes a shadow or landmark, then count the seconds until you reach it. The correct answer is here, D. Wait until the vehicle ahead of you passes a shadow or landmark, then count the seconds until you reach it. Explanation. Count how many seconds it takes you to reach some stationary object after the vehicle in front of you has passed it. You can count seconds as follows: 1001, 1002. The other 3 choices here either will not work or involve dangerous distractions. Note that you should increase your following distance in heavy traffic, in bad weather, with heavy vehicles, or at higher speeds. Question number 255. The height of the vehicle center of gravity is very important for safe handling. A high center of gravity means you are more likely to do the following. A. Increase stopping distance. B. Increase speed going downhill. C. No answers are correct. D. Tip over. The correct answer is here, D. Tip over. Explanation. The height of the vehicle's center of gravity is very important for safe handling. A high center of gravity means you are more likely to tip over. It is most dangerous in curves, or if you have to swerve to avoid a hazard. Question number 256. Which of these will help keep an engine cool in hot weather? A. Driving faster to force more air into the radiator. B. Running the air conditioner. C. Making sure the engine has the right amount of oil. The correct answer is here, C. Making sure the engine has the right amount of oil. Explanation. To ensure that your vehicle's engine won't overheat in hot weather, make sure that there is adequate coolant and engine oil, and check that the coolant hoses are in good condition and not leaking. Both coolant and oil carry off heat generated by the engine. Question number 257. When you check the condition of visible parts during your pre-trip inspection, make sure that they are secured against snagging, rubbing, or wearing. A. Airlines and electrical wiring. B. Frame and cross members. C. Primary and secondary safety cab locks. The correct answers here. A. Airlines and electrical wiring. Explanation. During your pre-trip inspection, check the airlines and electrical cables for any signs of wear, snagging, or rubbing. Question number 258. Which piece of emergency equipment must be carried in a CMV? A. First aid kit. B. Seatbelt cutter. C. Warning devices. The correct answers here. C. Warning devices. Explanation. Federal regulations require every CMV to carry one of the following warning devices in case the driver must stop the CMV on the road: 3 reflective triangles, 3 liquid burning flares, or 6 fusees. Federal regulations also require every CMV to carry a fire extinguisher. Your state may also require a first aid kit or seatbelt cutter be carried on certain types of CMVs, such as school buses. 49 CFR 393.95.